we're going to do part 4 of our knitting socks now. We're going to be making the gusset, which is this section right over here. Okay, you can see how it makes a triangle. Okay, it's the same on the other side. And if we do this way, you'll see them. Okay, this one goes one way, this one goes the other way, so that they're even for when our sock is. Okay, so you'll be decreasing differently on each side. So let's go ahead and basically this is what we have to join now. Okay, and round 1, it says with needle 1, okay, with 1 needle, okay, you are going to knit across all the heel stitches, which are these guys, and then you are going to pick up and knit 11 stitches if it's small, 12 if it's large, along the selvage edge of the heel. Now that is all the stitches that we have slipped, okay, at the beginning of our rows. Everything that we slipped, those are the selvage stitches, and you can kind of see if you pull on them, there's little holes between that we'll be going into. I'll show you exactly how to do that, okay. Once we go ahead and we pick up those 11 stitches, with another needle, we're going to knit across the 22 stitches that are on the instep, okay, the 20 or 22, okay, which are these guys. And then with the third needle, you're going to pick up and knit along these guys, okay. And then they want you to change the placement of where your end of the row is, because they don't want it at the side. It'll probably be right in the middle of the heel, okay. So you're going to knit across the first 6 stitches or 7 of needle 1 again. So that way our beginning of the row is here, and if you look down to where your tail is, it lines right up with your tail. Okay, so let's go ahead and do round 1. Okay, and round 1 we're going to knit across these stitches. Eight, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, now it says to pick up and knit 11 or 12 stitches. You're going to do it with the same needle that you've been using, okay, not with a new needle. And you just kind of want to go in as close as possible. And you can see if you pull these guys up, it makes a little hole, okay, that's where you're going to go into. So the only stitches that truly matter right now that you can't undo are the 12 or 14 stitches along the heel. Okay, if you pick up these stitches and you get all the way to the end and you realize you have too many, you just take them out. If you realize you have too few, take them out and do it again. The only ones you can't take out are these top stitches. Okay, so let's show you how I pick up and knit stitches. Okay, so I'm going to go in, and you want to try and go under 2 strands. Okay, you don't want to go in just under 1 because that's going to add a hole. So you want to pick up and do 2, and then we wrap the yarn around as if we knit and bring it through, and that is 1. So you're going to do that all the way down. We're going to do it 10 more times. So we go in, and you can feel where you want to go in, and you can look at it, but it's basically stitch per stitch, okay? And again, you're going through, so there's 2 little strands. We wrap around and bring it through. This gets tricky, okay, but our selvage stitches are a little on the loose side, so you should be able to do it. So now let me see how many I've done. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Go in, wrap around, and bring it through. And I do it slowly so you can see it. 5, 6, Okay. Here we go. 7. 8. Go back in for 9. Okay, now you'll see over here we've got 10. And then I'm going to split the difference with this guy a little bit. So I'm going to go for 11. Okay. So I have picked up and I have knit my stitches, and you want to get as close to the next stitch as you can. Okay. So now we're going to go, I'm going to take an empty needle and I'm going to knit across 20 or 22 instep stitches. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I have an extra stitch, so I'm just going to knit those 2 together. Okay, so we're just going to double check that we're 20. 1, 2, 3, 20 stitches. Okay. So that's with that needle. And now the next needle, we're going to pick up 11 stitches again. It gets a little awkward because it's going to get a little on the tight side, but you want to go again as close to the gap as possible. You go into the first one. And again, you make sure you pick up under 2 to get as little of a hole as possible. And we just go up. 3. Okay. And if you split the stitch, the yarn, just take it out and try again. I keep splitting. Okay, try it once again. There we go. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. Okay. And then it says that we're going to knit 6 of this first stitches. Right? Yep. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So we have picked up stitches, and you see we are starting to close our sock again. Now if you have a locking stitch marker, or if you have a stitch marker, you can put it on this needle if you want, or you could put it down here just to remember where the beginning of your round is. Okay, and we're going to work round 2, and you'll be repeating round 2 and 3 until you work down to 40 stitches. So back, or 44 where you began. Okay. So our row 2, okay, is on the first needle. You're going to knit to the last 3 stitches. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, and it's a little bit tight because we've got extra stitches, and there's not a lot of give yet because we just picked up those stitches. But within a couple rows, it'll get a little bit easier to manipulate the needles. Okay. And we're going to knit until we get to the last 3 stitches. And your pickup stitches might be a little bit on the tight side just because they don't have any kind of give to them. Okay, so we're at the last 3 stitches, and we are going to knit 2 together and then knit 1. So we come in here, knit 2 stitches as if 1, and knit the next stitch. Okay, switch our needles. It says on work needle 2. Okay, you are going to knit across all the stitches on the instep. Okay, this will be our instep, so we're just gonna knit across. Okay, so we've knit across those. Now we get to needle 3. Needle 3 says we're going to knit 1. So we knit the first stitch. And then it says to SSK and then knit to the end. So again, we slip as if we're knitting, slip as if we're knitting, insert the left hand needle, wrap the yarn around, bring it through, and we're done. And then it says to knit to the end of the round. Okay, so we have done our first decrease round for our gusset. Now row 3 is you're going to knit all the stitches on all 3 needles, so it's a straight round. Then you're going to repeat rows 2 and 3 until 40 stitches remain. You'll have 10 stitches on needles 1 and 3 and 20 stitches on the instep needle, needle 2. If you're working the large size, you'll have 11 stitches on needles 1 and 3 and 22 stitches on your instep needle. Okay, and once you are done with the needle, the gusset stitches, and you have your 40 or 42 40 or 44 stitches, you're going to continue in the stockinette stitch, which is knitting every single row, and you're going to do that until your sock measures 7.5 or 8 inches from the back of the heel. And what that means is the back of the heel is over here, okay, where we did our heel turn. So you will measure from here down, okay, till you get your 7.5 for the small or 8 inches for the large. So this is what you're going to measure. And then the last step that we'll be doing is our toe, which will be in the next video. Okay, but just make sure you have the 2 different decreases with your gusset. On one side, you'll be doing knit 2 together. On the other side, you'll be doing the SSK, the slip, slip, knit. And that's so that the triangles go in the opposite directions. Okay, So that is your heel gusset.